Okay, well, Mr. Beneficiary, take you and your trust back to jail. I ask the questions, you give the answers. Is that clear?
Mr. Beneficiary, you should not talk over to the court. I thank you very much. Thank you.
That is not fair. You cannot do this. Under oath and on record, you cannot do this.
If you're not Mr. Pollard, then you're not here, and the warrant will be for your arrest, and you can sit in jail till you rot for all I care.
That's fine, Your Honor, but that's...
Deputy, you can remove him. He's not here.
He's not here today because he doesn't exist.
Today, we're diving into a high-stakes case featuring a particularly risky sovereign citizen. This individual is currently juggling 4 separate hearings and has been consistently challenging every judge in his path. His actions are far from trivial. He's engaged in behavior that many would call downright dangerous. While I won't reveal every shocking detail just yet, you'll soon see how he seems to disregard the very rules that govern us all. Fortunately, the judges remain composed and are handling the situation with great skill. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think is a fitting consequence for such behavior? Stick around and let's take a closer look at this unfolding case.
Beneficiary.
Oh, he done this before.
What's his name?
The beneficiary.
Yeah, first name, Mr. Beneficiary.
Are you stating that the trust that we are administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust? If so,
I'm asking what your name is.
My name is the beneficiary of the trust.
Of whose trust?
Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust, Your Honor?
Okay, I'm going to recall him. Bring up somebody else. Put him aside. We'll call him at the end. Sir, is your name the beneficiary, Kevin Teron Anthony Pollard? Yes or no?
I'm the beneficiary of the trust, Your Honor. Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust?
Are you Kevin Pollard? I'm asking you.
Is the trust that we are now administrating?
Sir, I ask the questions here. You give me yes or no answers.
You're asking for my permission to
ask the questions. You give the answers. Is that clear?
It's very clear.
Okay, listen.
Yes.
Are you also known by the name of Kevin Pollard amongst other names? Yes or no?
Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust, Your Honor? If so, Kevin Pollard is in fact present today. It is you that is Kevin Pollard, Your Honor. It is you.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor. Really? It is you that is Kevin Pollard. Yes, Your Honor. You are Kevin Pollard today, Your Honor. I am the beneficiary.
And then who are you?
I am the beneficiary of the trust.
Okay, well, Mr. Beneficiary, take you and your trust back to jail.
I have some questions for the clerk, Your Honor.
No.
I have. Can I speak to the clerk before we go any further?
You know what? I'm gonna put you in timeout. Get your mind right, Mr. Pollard.
Yes, sir. Can I have the clerk present? Please, Your Honor.
Don't give in.
Please have the clerk present in a Zoom meeting.
You know what? If you answer my questions, I'll consider it.
Okay. What's the question?
What's your name?
The beneficiary.
All right, Mr. Beneficiary, put you back in timeout.
Now that we're back, this judge is really putting on a show. I'm tired of watching lenient judges let people talk without facing any real consequences. This judge, however, is different. He's like a parent who's reached their final warning and isn't playing games anymore. It's refreshing to see. Him enforcing courtroom rules with clear authority. Under contempt of court laws, if you act out foolishly, you can be removed, or even jailed for a short time. When some judges hold back, the courtroom can quickly turn into a reality TV drama, which is frustrating. I really appreciate this judge's firm approach and would rate him a solid 10 out of 10. I know some of you might think he's too strict, but sometimes a strong hand is exactly what's needed. What do you think? Let's dive back in and see how the proceedings unfold.
All right, beneficiary. I'm going to give you another chance in front of another magistrate.
That's no problem. Can I have the clerk present, please?
Hey, sir, I'm Magistrate Chartea. DDC.
Excuse me? Yeah.
I'm talking to the DDC officer.
Yes.
DDC?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The gentleman that is in front of the screen, in front of camera 1, what name do you have him listed as?
Kevin Pollard.
Do you have a middle name?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you have a Kevin Pollard. Okay, and sir, you're identified as Kevin Pollard, but you're considering yourself the beneficiary. Is that correct, sir?
Are we on the record?
We are. Everything is on the record.
Okay. Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard trust, ma'am?
I'm not administrating any trust because there is no trust in front of me. But what I'm asking you is, you call yourself the beneficiary. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. I have case number is 240-5538101. People of the state of Michigan versus Kevin Theron Anthony Pollard, who is listed by DDC as Kevin Pollard. However, the gentleman has identified himself as the beneficiary.
You representing as Kevin Pollard today, Your Honor?
Mr. Pollard,
I'm not.
Mr. Pollard, now, as your counsel, I am going to advise that you stop speaking and allow the judge to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel Kirkland.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Shava Kirkland on behalf of Mr. Pollard, who has been advised of his rights, wishes to stand mute and waive the formal reading.
Thank you. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Court dates are February 2nd, 2024. It is a probable cause conference, followed by preliminary examination, February 8th, 1:30 p.m. Both matters are in front of Judge King. The probable cause conference, it is at 8:30 in the morning. Mr. Beneficiary, you should not talk over to the court. I thank you very much.
You are under oath and you are on record. And I'm asking you,
beneficiary, I have not sworn you under oath. I am under oath, so I am doing all this. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. I already given the court dates while this case is pending, sir. Okay, there should be no contact with the individual.
You are not allowed to state what the judgment is. That is my job.
Mr. Pollard, I do want to let you know that the person.
Okay.
I have a question for the clerk.
Okay.
I have a question for the clerk.
A moment.
I have a question for the clerk.
You will give an opportunity, sir. You will give an opportunity. Let me finish. The people, go ahead, Esteban.
Yeah, the people are asking for $250,000 cash bond, no cash, no surety. If he's able to ever post bond, we'd like GPS tether with home arrest. The defendant, Your Honor, has a continuing situation where he entices young girls on the internet from Arizona in this particular case, and previously on 10/23/2023 in another case where he enticed people.
This individual should be facing a contempt charge without delay. He's blatantly disrespecting the court, treating the entire process like a joke, and ignoring the real consequences of his actions. What's even more alarming is that he seems to be setting a dangerous example for younger people, those who might not yet understand the weight of their decisions. While everyone makes mistakes, deliberately influencing impressionable minds in such a reckless way is deeply troubling. This isn't a minor offense. He's dealing with charges that could lead to significant prison time, and his behavior only makes the situation more severe. Ultimately, he poses a threat not only to himself, but also to the community, and it's frightening to think he might eventually be released back onto the streets.
He's been arrested 3 different times for criminal sexual conduct. The first case, he was found not guilty back on 5/15/2015. The 10/21/2023 case, where he was criminal sexual conduct first degree and also contributing alcohol to a minor, 2 counts of that, was at the exam dismissed without prejudice. In our particular case we have here today, Your Honor, the victim is from Arizona. She came here after having a relationship, not the victim, but one of the witnesses came here after having a 3-year relationship with this defendant on the internet. When she turned 18, she came to visit. And also, Mr. Pollard introduced her to another girl who is also from Arizona. The other girl brought her niece or her, I forgot the relationship, but her 7-year-old niece with her to visit Mr. Pollard. And what happened then, because the person was tired from traveling, she fell asleep in the living room. When she woke up, she went into the bedroom, and there was Mr. Pollard with the 7-year-old girl. He then said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, we're playing video games." So the woman, the adult in the room, she falls asleep again. And then she is awakened by the 7-year-old girl and asked to leave. The 7-year-old girl then tells her mother that Mr. Pollard touched her, rubbed her, he says, okay? He said, accidentally is what he's trying to tell us what happened. The situation is she's told the 7-year-old child has told TED Talk that he did this. He's told Protective Services that he did this. And as far as I'm concerned, Judge, he fits the category of a predator because he did the same thing in the 1023-2023 case of enticing young people from other parts of the country, perhaps, I don't know where exactly, to come and see him on the internet. So we're asking for $250,000 cash bond, no surety, and GPS tether if he's ever be able to post bond, Your Honor.
I'll be honest, the bond right now is pretty steep. But for someone charged with such heinous crimes, it just doesn't seem high enough. Given that this man is labeled a predator and is accused of unspeakable offenses, the current amount feels way too lenient. He's not only facing serious charges, but is also blatantly mocking the court and talking over the judge, acting as if he's untouchable. In my opinion, a bond closer to $1 million would be more appropriate for someone so dangerous and dismissive of the law. What do you all think? Should the bond be set even higher? Let's jump back in and see what the final decision is.
Counsel Kirkland, go ahead, Esteban, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd ask this court, understanding the seriousness of these charges, for a 10% bond if this court is not inclined to do a high personal bond. So one, I know the bulk of Brother Counsel's argument was this dismissed case from last year. I'd ask that this court sentence him based on these allegations and the facts and details surrounding this case. This is a 2020 case. And the woman that he met was 20 years old, or that came to see him was a 20-year-old woman, was not an underage woman. And the allegation is that she brought her, I believe, goddaughter to the home. Now, there are different variations because a couple different stories are told as to what occurred there. But Mr. Pollard has maintained that he did not sexually assault the little girl. I'm not sure why this case wasn't charged until 2024, but it is a 4-year-old case. My understanding is that he I don't believe he's had any convictions since then. He is a lifelong resident, has a child, so he has strong ties to the community. He also owns a lawn service here. At this point, there's no amount of bond that he can't afford to pay, so even a 10% bond would be unaffordable for him. But given the age of this case and his lack of issues since this, I'd ask this court consider a high personal bond, if not that, a 10% bond.
Thank you. I've heard the representations from both sides in this particular matter in reference to the beneficiary who is listed by the court or by DDC as Kevin Pollard, is that in this particular matter, even though this is from 2020, okay, there was a forensic interview, Kids Talk, with the victim, and she disclosed that she was touched by the defendant and that he rubbed her with his hand. This court is not considering the other cases that were dismissed without prejudice. Okay, this court is only going with this matter. In reference to this gentleman, the defendant, bond is going to be $250,000 cash. There's going to be a GPS tether, home arrest. Further, okay, it's going to be unaffordable. So today is Friday. He's going to get another court date Today's the 26th, January 29th, 2024, 9 o'clock in front of Judge McConigal, who's going to be looking at the bond amount and bond conditions. Also, there is one other thing. This court looks at clear and convincing evidence standard, okay, based on the representation, based on the reading. This court is convinced that Mr. Pollard, okay, I'm sorry, the beneficiary, okay, that he is a creditor in this particular matter. That's why we're putting at $250,000 cash, GPS tether, house arrest. He does have the, again, the unaffordable bond redetermination for this Monday, January 29, 2024, 9 o'clock in front of Judge McConigal. Also, there's another bond condition. He's not to be around any minor children. That concludes the arraignment of the beneficiary, also known as Kevin Pollard. Madam Clerk.
Pre-trial, Your Honor.
No, I was
Talk to the gentleman that's in front of the screen.
Judge.
Okay. Just so for the record, is that the clerk has declined to talk to the gentleman in front of the screen.
No, that is not fair.
Thank you.
That is not fair. You cannot do this. Under oath and on record, you cannot do this. I have rights, and you violated them, and you was not my judge.
Okay, you go. Go ahead and do whatever.
You cannot do that.
Can you believe it? This man seems to expect the judge to agree with his complaints, even after facing charges for misconduct with minors. The reality is clear. The judge has full authority, and if our defendant doesn't get his act together, he won't be walking free for long. It's almost laughable that he thinks he can sweet-talk his way out of this situation while already staring down the possibility of a prison cell. Today, we're focusing on his bond redetermination hearing. He's trying to slash his bond from $250,000. But let me tell you, the judge isn't backing down, and the exchange gets heated quickly. Let's dive into the hearing and see how this intense showdown unfolds.